background, if you don't know what the 10th Amendment, that is our in our rights to do shit how we want to do it. Okay, so like do stuff. The state government feels like the middle child. As a middle child in life, okay, right? Everybody knows their oldest. Everybody knows the youngest, right? The baby and the oldest, but the middle kid, it's like, here's my oldest, here's my youngest, and here's Jackie. Yes, this is who she is. But we're the bridge, right? We're the ones keeping everybody. I'm just saying this out loud because I want people to understand the power of state government. We have not fully actualized it. And if I may plug some of the work that you're doing, Chris, it's like there is a huge opportunity for us to take this E.A.R.R model and push states to understanding that we've got to get out of our mind that states' rights is this dirty thing from the Civil War time frame, and that's what we're not Civil War. What am I saying? Civil War, but from it's this dirty word, right? Like we exercise our right as the Commonwealth on a myriad of things, like how we hold our elections and how we exercise these things. But we're scared. I think there's a fear of using the power because we feel like we'll push ourselves back into some sort of civil war. Well, darling, we are already at war proverbially with our federal government in a lot of different ways. And I think it's going to take the people to understand what we're capable of doing and what we're not doing. But it takes those nodes of people, Chris, like your Substack is the Existentialist Republic that has so many resources to help not only legislators, but help you all, like everyday people understand, we could be like, from your website, one of my things of grab them by the ear was to write a letter to the governor and the attorney general and tell them we need to investigate Clarence Thomas for tax fraud, right? Like that's something that we could actually do because he lives in Fairfax. He lives in Fairfax, guys. And if he lied on his federal taxes, that means he mucked up on his state taxes. And guess who's responsible for that? That's us. Like we could actually bring him, like we could, like, you know what I mean? And it gets exciting, right? It gets exciting to feel like, you know what? Push. Come on, governor, tell that attorney general to investigate that fun lover because he shouldn't be violating state. He's not, no one's above the law. So like, if you're looking for the things to excite you, I think you have a plethora of things on the Existentialist Republic and on your Substack that can sort of pull people into the exciting work, the big work and the small work right in their own backyard.
Well, and it's all a million little battles, and it's like, even like with the Clarence Thomas thing, he doesn't have to go to jail over that for it to make his life more difficult. He has less time for yacht trips, and maybe he's sitting at some dinner with some billionaire, and he's like, the AG for Virginia said that they might investigate me, and that's rolling around in his head. And even if the investigation doesn't happen, but the AG says we're looking into it, we've that's a win. But we're doing a million things at once. And one of the important parts when you mention states' rights, that's 10th Amendment, exactly right. Any power not delegated to the federal government explicitly belongs to the states. 9th Amendment, any rule that is not defined, enumerated, explicitly stated, any limit on your freedom that is or rights that we don't explicitly place, we presume you have as freedom. So that means gay marriage, like civil rights, all these different things, unenumerated rights, any right that we have not explicitly taken away from you, we presume you have. So 9th and 10th Amendments are actually like the most important. And before all of this, we're in a new era, and everybody in this call is part of this transition, because before states' rights were almost exclusively used for racism and bad stuff, and part of like Civil War. It was an expansion of federal power for the purpose of ending slavery and keeping the country together. And I'm happy that expansion of power occurred for a good reason. But that's the thing, is the reason is what matters. There isn't something inherently more moral about a federal government. The moral thing was ending slavery. And the same goes for a lot of federal, like the Department of Justice existed to fight the KKK, where they had taken over the justice system in southern states. Like the FBI, so many agencies were Reconstruction era ways to fight back against racism. And so that's what a centralized federal government meant. When we integrated schools in the United States, we used the National Guard to do that because we said it mattered. The process isn't the moral thing. The federal government isn't the moral thing. The moral thing is saying we're going to make sure this school gets integrated, even if it means changing the order and moving the system. And that if that was happening, if the federal government segregated schools by race, would your governor use the National Guard or the law enforcement that they have? Would they order the state patrol to escort those children into the schools to resegregate them? Would they force resegregation even if the federal government said no? Because that's the moral issue. We are here for the people. We are here for justice, and we will find victories wherever we can in that fight.
Find victories wherever we can in that fight. I love this. And this, as Sewell said, you fight because what else are you going to do? Shut up and not fight. That's what it feels like sometimes. I'm not trying to fight for the sake of fighting. I want to use power. Being a delegate, and I don't know how you feel about this, Nicole. It's like, for me, being a delegate is like having Excalibur. And no one's meant to hold Excalibur forever. It's freaking heavy. It goes back into the stone and someone else should pick it up, right? Somebody should. But in order for power to be good, because we've seen power be so bad, more good people have to have power. So like, I'm wielding Excalibur. Like, I think I want to put this down because these muscles can only hold it for so long, but you want to do good with it. And what an honor and privilege it is to be of service. But like, we do need people to follow this E.A.R.R model to help us do more good, because it is really, it's important to know that there are a lot of good people in politics, but even good people have a hard time doing things out of the kindness of their hearts when there's pressure in the room. And if you all follow the E.A.R.R model, that helps those good people do the good things, or stand up when those not so good things are being said or happening with conviction, because you're doing the E.A.R.R model.
Well, and just as an additional note, very much in that vein, Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, an incredibly powerful role. She brought the fight to Trump. So during his first administration, she did investigations and held the evidence and waited until he was no longer president, and then brought the cases. She followed the playbook by the standard operating procedure as well and courageously as you could. And then a jury convicted him on the president on 34 counts, and a judge said, after delaying it 8 months, they continued to delay thanks to Federalist Society judges, blah, blah, blah. They played by the rule book, and what happened? He became president again, and now she's getting DOJ attacks against her. She very much in danger. She stuck her neck out, and because we the people, and I'm not even saying failed because of the election, I'm just saying we've failed. It's okay. I'm not mad at we the people, by the way, guys, because this is tough. It's a tough game. They have all the power. But my point is, the example's been made for any politician that they are in danger. Gavin Newsom could be arrested any day. He's being investigated on politically charged things. So your politicians are never going to be more brave than the public support that they have.
Right.
If you can't convince 20,000 people in your state of whatever the thing is, then you're not going to be able to convince your governor. You can't convince 1 million of the people. That's just the game of democracy.
Right. Yeah. And we need you to have our backs in a sense. I'd say for voting, if you're registered non-voters, we got to get you out there to vote. If you're not registered, you got to get out there to vote. And it is not hard to figure out who cares about our communities, who cares about you and our families, and who's a good person for representing our communities and people, and for us in Virginia, our Commonwealth. And so, as Jackie said, it's getting the momentum and getting the support for good people to be in politics, to be able to bring good things and to hold us up against the bad people that, for whatever reason, get into power, right? I think for one of the main reasons or purposes that I had for being elected on the school board for my first 2 years was to be the person who was fearless in speaking truth to power. And because it flipped our board to a very MAGA, non-pro public school board. And I was the one of the minority who was willing to still be transparent about what was going on, speak truth to power, and really be fearless in that, regardless of the attacks that came on an ongoing basis. And then started doing the work with the community, with the people in the community, to flip the school board back to some sanity, right?
Back to sanity.
Yeah.
I love that, Nicole.
Well, I mean, just one extra structural note too about why you learn, you do something about it, you get other people involved, and you repeat. That's what E.A.R.R is. And part of why that matters so much is just because right now there's more evil people running things than good people, because it's easier to win if you decide to be evil, because you get a bunch of money and you get press and you get media. We only can change that math through the same way we've always changed it, whether it was starting this country through pamphlets, whether it was through abolition, which I think, part of the challenge there too is like meeting people and changing like really abhorrent views is arduous. And then the organized labor. There were literal gunfights, like cannons and guns and snipers over towns, coal mining towns, trying to unionize. Like, it's a tough game that we're playing. The whole like make the world a better place game. That's a really challenging game throughout history. It's been brutal,
It's a really,
but
tough
it's a necessary one.
Yes.
Yes.